Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and welcome if you're new. If you're new here, please go ahead and click the subscribe button. Thank you again to people who have watched my previous videos, who've subscribed to my channel, who have liked them, who've left me positive comments, and thank you so much. It really means a lot to me when I see all these positive comments. So yeah, don't be afraid to also connect with me on the socials that I'll leave all my handles down below. So in today's video, so you want to be a scientist. I really want to define what a scientist is, first of all, because like I said in my previous video, I feel like when we're growing up, like today, if you ask a 5-year-old what they want to do, I doubt they're going to say they want to be a scientist. They're probably going to say they want to be a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, or one of those really popular professions. Yeah, so I really wanted to do this video today, and first of all define scientists, what they do, what you specialize in, kind of the qualities you need to have if you want to pursue a career in science, what you can do with your science degrees. So yeah, so I think it's really important for me to first define what a scientist is. So I actually googled this for the first time because I had my own idea of what a scientist is, and it actually really beautifully aligns with what I found when I googled it. So forgive me if I look down. I'm just going to be reading the Google definition. So I literally googled what is a scientist, and it says a scientist is someone who conducts scientific research to advance knowledge in an area of interest. In a classical antiquity, there was no real ancient analog of a modern scientist. Instead, philosophers engaged in the physiological study of nature called natural philosophy, a precursor of natural science. So this actually makes sense. I've never thought of this before, but doctor of philosophy, like what I'm doing now, my PhD, it's basically you being engaged in the physiological study of nature called a natural philosophy. Wow, I literally just had a light bulb moment right now. So that is a scientific definition of what a scientist is, and I just want to read the first sentence again because I feel like it encapsulates what a scientist is so beautifully. A scientist is someone who conducts scientific research to advance knowledge in an area of interest. So you conduct scientific research to advance the knowledge in that area. So basically that's what scientists do. Scientists find out what we don't know. That's what a scientist does. So I mean, in being a scientist, first of all, you need to be curious, about how things work, or you want certain answers to everything. And I'm going to use the coronavirus that we experience right now, experiencing the pandemic right now, as an example of what the role of scientists that they've had during this time and what exactly they've been doing. So because this is a novel virus, so novel means that it's new, it's something that's never been discovered before, there's so much that we don't know about it. Actually, from the beginning of time, from the first person was infected, we knew nothing because it is a novel virus. So basically what scientists do is study the virus, so the dynamics of the virus, how it enters your body, what it does when it enters your body, how it leads to the symptoms that it's leading to now. And what scientists are doing, especially now, in me continuing to use the coronavirus pandemic as an example, is really looking for a vaccine. So a vaccine is something that would prevent a person from getting it. So preventing people that are not infected from being infected, as opposed to a cure, which is what I've been the research I'm doing in HIV is curing or treating people that are already infected. So that's the difference between a cure and a vaccine. So it's really pivotal right now that we find a vaccine for coronavirus. So that prevents, because it's a virus that spreads so easily, that prevents everyone from getting it if you have the vaccine. So that's what scientists are doing. Scientists are working tirelessly all over the world to try and come up with a vaccine. So how do they do that is basically from the knowledge that they've generated about how the virus works, what the virus responds to, how it replicates in the body, what can they do, or what kind of compounds and drugs that are you know, everything that goes in a vaccine, if it's going to be an attenuated vaccine, so it's going to have some coronavirus in it, and your body's going to build up immunity to that, and then which will prevent you from, if you're exposed to it in the future, from actually contracting the virus. So I'm actually not sure exactly on how they're going about looking for a vaccine, but scientists basically answer the unknown. So everything that we don't know, everything when the earth began, everything that we didn't know and how things work, those are all questions that scientists answered. So that is basically what a scientist is in a nutshell. There's so many different types of scientists. You know, they are a plethora of areas of interest, as the definition said, and specializations, you know, from computer science to, you know, astronomy to medical science, anatomy. There's so many different types of scientists. I'm sure there's some that I don't even know and are still yet to discover. So yeah, that's really just covering what a scientist is. So when you say you want to be a scientist, what are you getting yourself into? Basically, when you want to do a career in science, I definitely have to say the number one thing is that you need to be passionate about it. You need to be passionate about it. This is not a career that you're going to go into and, you know, things are just going to be like boom boom, like everything's going to come together and you're going to be a millionaire in years. It's not that kind of career. You need to have a deep rooted love for it. You need to really love science, and once you've identified the area of interest that you want to go into, you need to really love that and hone your skills in that and become a specialist in that. Because when you say someone is a scientist, you know that there's a specific area of interest that they're interested in. They're not just a scientist, you know, because that's way too broad, and we can't be scientists and we can't be masters of a lot of different areas. So yeah, that's what I'd say. And if you want to be a scientist, you have to persevere. You have to persevere and persist and be dedicated in what you are pursuing, because as we all know, you know, famous scientists, Einstein, you know, the guy that invented the light bulb, his name has just escaped me, many scientists always fail in the beginning. They fail, their experiments fail. People made a mockery of Einstein and thought he was crazy. There are some of his formulas which have been proven today. Like, that's how much of a genius that guy was. So you really need to have the qualities of perseverance, I definitely say, is number one, and you need to be dedicated and passionate about what you're doing, because if you're not, you're really going to struggle in this profession. So yeah, so we've defined what a scientist is and kind of what kind of qualities you need to have if you want to be a scientist or pursue a career in science. And thirdly, what I want to talk about is kind of, you know, from grassroots, what you need to do and subjects you should have chosen if you want to pursue a career in science. So you definitely have to have done core maths, and physical science and life science is actually not compulsory, but if you want to do physical science and life science, I did it, and you know, I was a super science freak, I guess, in high school, but you don't have to do biology as well. Maths and physical science are super important. You have to do well in them as well. I mean, it's so difficult, especially because, you know, so many people want to go to university now, is that even if you do meet the requirements, you may not get in. I mean, there may be hundreds of thousands of people who have done better than you. Not that you have not done well, but it's just in the competitive nature of it. And that's what you kind of have to do from grassroots. And then in university, it's really important that you make sure that your lecturers know you. This will stand you in good stead when you want to continue, you know, with your postgraduate degrees. They'll see you, they'll know that you're a keen student, even if your marks, I mean, even if they, you know, people that are ahead of you, and because when you get into your honors there's a certain cut off, you know, they'll know you and they'll be like, wow, you know, Uzagiti, I know her and she shows keen interest and she's super dedicated. Because as much as you need to have the marks to show for it, but I feel like you also need to have the right attitude, because it can be really frustrating when you're pursuing your postgraduate degree or your postgraduate career in general. So I definitely say you need to be proactive in that. And even if you don't want to do your postgraduate at a later stage, or you just want to be an intern or work in someone's lab, I mean, if those faculty members know you and they need that position, it'll really stand you in good stead, you know, about, I mean, in that light. So they'll know you, they'll remember you, and you really have to really show keen interest. You need to be a cut above the rest. Like, all the time you need to be a cut above the rest. You need to be thinking proactively, you know, you need to make sure that your mind is open to a lot of different things. And I think that's also another quality of being a scientist, is that you need to read. You need to read a lot about your subject of interest, your area of interest. You need to read a lot around it. Things are changing all the time. I mean, I read more about HIV than anything ever, and I'm going to do that for the rest of my life, and I love that, and that's fine, and I love learning new things. And even our director, where I am now, he reads. He doesn't know everything as well. He doesn't know everything at all. And like I said, things are changing. What was out there about HIV 20 years ago has totally evolved and changed into something different now. So you definitely need to be a reader. If you want to be a scientist, you need to be a reader. And you read, don't just read, also you need to read with kind of understanding and kind of really translating what you're reading. I don't know if that makes sense, but you need to read actively. Like, you can't just passively read. Like, when I read, I always have my notebook and my pen on the side, and I'm making notes of things that I'm interested in, that I'm going to research further, or things that are important to me that I feel like I really need to know and I need to cement, and I kind of cement them in that way of writing down. So you definitely need to be a reader. And most importantly, I think a lot of people, when they think of a scientist, they think of this really nerdy, boring person who's a really flat kind of person. But, you know, I think I am living proof that that's not, you know, it's not a cookie cut of what a scientist is. Scientists are so different. I have seen so many different scientists. I've seen scientists that walk around barefoot on campus. I've seen scientists that, you know, appear normal and, you know, have a social life. I've seen scientists who science really is just their life. I've seen scientists with psychological issues. I've seen so many different types of scientists in the sense of the character of the scientist. So really don't box yourself. You know, if you want to be a scientist and think, oh, you're just going to be this boring person, or you're going to be a nerd. I mean, I used to get that a lot, especially when I was pursuing my postgraduate career, you know, that I'm pursuing a career in science, and it's like, oh, you're a nerd. But then people actually see me and hang out with me, and they're like, wait, like, I wouldn't have even said this person wants to be a scientist. So you really need to just enjoy it. Like, it's so much fun being a scientist. It's really so much fun, and even when I say it, like, I can't help but smile. It's something that I'm really passionate about, and it's something that I love. I absolutely love it. And if I can just sprinkle a little bit of passion and love for it on you guys, and then you guys sprinkle on the next one, can you imagine, like, the dynamite scientists that we're gonna have in the future? So yeah, I think that's it for this video. This was really, I feel like it was more of like a chit chat kind of video about science and things around it, but the most important thing I wanted to do in this video is really define what a scientist is, and kind of the characters that you need to have to, if you want to pursue a career in science, you know, the subjects that you should have taken, you know, when you were in high school. And I've kind of now covered the basics in the first 3 videos of my channel, and I'm really going to now, wow, I keep going back to this definition, but now I'll be focusing on different areas of interest. So really going into the nitty-gritty of certain aspects of being an aspiring scientist and wanting to be a scientist. That is funding your postgraduate degree, you know, the travel aspect of it, the career aspect of it. I'll be covering all the different majors underneath a Bachelor of Science. You know, that's targeted more to people who are wanting to pursue a career in science. You know, I'm going to be having people in the working world on the channel as well, like I promised in my video, in my first video, some big names for me in the field. And I'm really excited to continue sharing content with you guys. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and click the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and comment down below. Please leave me a comment down below. Please also connect with me on my socials. I'll leave all my handles down below. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.